Ocean Church. We love Sundays together, and we've got a packed episode for you today. First up, we're sitting down with Pastor Stokes and Beth Collins to introduce them and have a little fun along the way. You'll get to know their heart for the church with some lighthearted moments too. Then we're jumping into a conversation with Pastor Eric about something we're believing will continue to shape the future of our church, our monthly prayer and worship nights. Let's get to it.
Hey Ocean Church, we're here with Pastor Stokes and Beth Collins, our new Cape Campus pastors, and we're just sitting down to have a conversation, but we're doing it a little bit more fun. And so we've got a couple of beverages lined up from Union Coffee, and we're just gonna sip and have some conversation. We've got our first coffee here, so why don't you take a sip? You guys can react to it. It's pretty normal coffee, but I hear you're not a big coffee fan, so we might get some faces.
Yes, you're definitely going to get
Why do you look
faces.
nervous?
Well, because I really don't want to do this. I mean, that's not bad.
That's
It's
delicious.
cold. It's cold, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it's delicious.
We will admit that we've been sitting here for longer than we expected.
Yes.
So let's start with the first question, which we had talked about. What is a funny moment or even just a memorable moment that you've had in ministry?
Working in a church for a while, there'd be times where I would go in for services. One particular time, I go to church without her, and I come home after multiple services, and I walk through the door, and she gives me the up-down, right? She looks me up and down, and this is the first thing she says to me. Is that what you wore today? This is after I've done 3 services, and ever since then, there's been a rule that I have to wake her up before I leave to get attire approval because I'm terrible at it.
It's a public service. It really is. I do my best. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, that gave me the chin quiver. That is not good.
That's cold brew.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a cold.
That is Union Coffee's Nitro Cold Brew.
That is delicious.
What is a leadership lesson that you've had to learn the hard way?
I think leaders have to learn to wait. When I have taken steps and not waited on the Lord, it has hurt every single time. And what's terrible about leadership pains like that is you don't just hurt yourself, you hurt others as well. And it's not just generally one other person. When I have waited, you get frustrated in the waiting because you're a human. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, why aren't we moving faster? Why aren't we this? Why aren't we that? And the Lord's just not stirred by that. But when it all comes together, there is a peace that comes across that you can't get any other way. And things just work like you don't even believe.
First of all, you have to lead relationally. You can't just come in being a dictator and doing really your agenda, which is, you have to kind of learn that as well, especially if you're kind of a go-getter type, like you feel like you know what's best. These are the things we need to change. And what I have found, it's better to just ask the Lord what the burden is for the people that you're leading. Oh, yeah. And when you do that, you get everybody's buy-in because God knows their heart better than you do.
Those are both great lessons that I think really you only get from experience. Is learning those. Those aren't the you're like, oh, I just, I knew that one from the start. No, you really have to kind of live those out and go through them yourself. This is our last beverage, so we went something a little bit more fun, light. So these are actually Union Coffee's new smoothies that they have. So one of the first to get to try it. Okay. Not a coffee drink, so I think I'm hopeful for you.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's very good. Very good. Yeah.
You nailed it, Union. Good stuff right there.
You guys are coming in to lead the Cape Campus. And so just what is your heart and vision for what you want to see at that campus?
I think a non-negotiable really for us is to lead a presence-driven church. We want a presence-driven culture. We want our worship services to be full of the presence of God, and believers, unbelievers would come in and sense something's different. Something feels amazing here, and we're not saying it's not there now, but whatever we do have, we want to elevate and just make space for God, and not just in weekend worship services. What's it look like to lead a presence-driven culture when people go to Lowe's or Wawa or wherever people are going.
I think my heart more than anything is for people to know the Lord intimately. And where you know him now intimately, I feel like we can go deeper and we can continue to go deeper. And just really knowing the character of God. I feel like when people know the character of God, it's very easy for you to recognize who's talking to you, how your thoughts are lining up. Does that line up with the character of God? But if we know his character, then we know if our Father's talking to us or not.
That's awesome. Well, I know that we're so excited for you guys to be here and to get to see just how the Lord uses you at Cape and even in Estero, and just being part of the staff and being part of this church. And I think amazing things are coming this way.
Thank
Amen.
you.
Thank you for the coffee.
Amen.
Thank you for the smoothie.
Well, hey everyone, I'm sitting down here with our young adult pastor, Eric Jeffcoat, and something that we've started now monthly are these prayer and worship gatherings. And Eric, why don't you kind of talk about like what these prayer and worship gatherings are?
Honestly, it just started in me first. I just felt as over the last year or so, the Lord was telling me, you need to start praying more. You need to seek me more. I started seeing so many things open up in my life, like just how the Lord was speaking to me, how he was guiding me. And I was like, yeah, I've been missing out on this, for way too long. And ended up talking to Brandon. And so we started talking through it. And we're like, let's just do this. We don't really know, we don't have the plan. We don't have the agenda. We don't have like all the little, our I's dotted and our T's crossed, but we're like, let's just pray.
We had our first one not that long ago, and it was such an amazing turnout. So many people came. There was so much happening in the room. God was definitely in the room. What do you see happening with this as we do more of these?
I like going into it again without our agenda, without our thoughts of we want it to be this or be that or grow or create anything. We want to keep that heart. Let's seek the face of the Lord. The vision for it is just to really create a space. Create an opportunity and say, hey, let's come pray together. And that is, I think, the big thing, because we can talk about praying and say, hey, get in your prayer closet, and that is a big part of what God's called us to do. But the coming together, the gathering is so important that we do this together.
I think it was so awesome to see so many people from our next gen there, that there were so many kids from our youth, there were so many people from our young adults there. What do you see with this being run by like our young adults and all that?
Yeah, so that was being the young adult pastor. I was praying, I said, Lord, what do you have right now for us? I don't want to jump in here and just change things. And talking to Brandon, I was like, what if it's led by young adults, open to everybody, but led by young adults? And I was like, yeah, it just resonated with me.
I'm so excited for our upcoming one. What has God been speaking to you, especially for this next one that's coming up?
For this next one, we're going to keep it in that same heart. We're going to seek the Lord, and whatever that looks like, that's what it looks like. That'll be coming up here the first Thursday in June, which I believe is June 5th. It is going to be at 7 p.m. in the sanctuary, and it is open to everybody. So I hope to see even more people here this time.
We believe these moments of prayer, worship, and conversation are more than just events. They're part of how God is drawing us closer to Him and to each other. As we head into service, know you are not here by accident. There is a place for you here. Let's lean in and worship together.